Lady Isayan GNT. And this morning, like every morning, is not just another tick of the clock. It is an opportunity, a divine appointment. A moment carved from eternity, handed to you as a blank canvas. And what you do with it, that's on you. Before the noise, before the rush, before the world demands a piece of you, there must be stillness. There must be prayer. When the sun rises and the world slowly opens its eyes, there's a moment, quiet, unassuming, when you get to decide what kind of day you will create. It is not the world that defines it for you. It is you who sets that tone. That is the power of intention. And it begins before you even step out of your bed. It begins in your mind, in your spirit, in the silence of a morning prayer. Intention is more than just a wish or a fleeting desire. It is a decision, a declaration. When you wake up and center yourself in prayer, you are not simply reciting words. You are focusing your energy, aligning your spirit with purpose. You are, in essence, choosing to be an active participant in your life rather than a passive receiver of whatever the day might throw your way. Too many people rush into the day reactive, not proactive. Their thoughts are scattered, their attention is divided, and they wonder why the day feels chaotic. But when you begin your day with intention, you introduce order before chaos has a chance to creep in. You claim authority over your time, your thoughts, and your actions. Prayer, especially in the morning, is a sacred practice that allows you to press pause on everything else and tune in to what truly matters. It's not just about asking for things. It's about remembering who you are, what you stand for, and what you've been called to do. It's a moment to breathe, to reflect, to recalibrate. It's where you say, today, I choose peace over panic. Today, I choose to lead, not follow. Today, I choose to walk in purpose, not confusion. Intentions are seeds, and the morning is the soil. When you plant the right seeds in the morning, seeds of focus, strength, kindness, and courage, you are more likely to harvest a day filled with meaning. But like any seed, intention needs tending. It needs consistency, discipline, honesty. You cannot simply set an intention and forget it. You must live into it, breathe into it, walk in step with it throughout the day. You see, when your intentions are clear, your decisions become easier. Your distractions lose their power. You're not as easily shaken because you know what you're working toward. Morning prayer reminds you that your time is valuable, that your energy is sacred, that not every battle is worth fighting, that not every opinion needs your attention. It filters out the noise, so the signal of your purpose comes through strong and clear. And make no mistake, intention is not about control. It's about direction. You may not be able to control every outcome, every obstacle, or every interaction, but you can control how you approach them. You can decide from the very first breath of the day that you will operate with patience, that you will lead with compassion, that you will not let negativity rent space in your mind, that even in adversity, you will remain rooted in faith. The world does not need more people who are busy. It needs more people who are intentional. People who move with clarity. People who know that every minute counts, that every action has impact, that the way you start your day shapes the way you live your life. When you pray in the morning, you acknowledge something bigger than yourself. You surrender your ego and you let your higher purpose take the driver's seat. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. That's strength. Because intention without humility becomes pride. But intention born from prayer becomes power. Quiet power. unshakable power. The kind of power that doesn't scream for attention, but radiates through presence. So tomorrow morning, and every morning after, don't just wake up and go. Wake up and grow. Be deliberate. Be mindful. Speak with purpose. Move with purpose. And when you pray, don't just ask for a good day. Commit to creating one. Let your intention be the compass that guides you, not just through the easy hours, but especially through the tough ones. Because in the end, your life will not be defined by the things that happen to you. It will be defined by how you chose to respond. And it all begins with the power of intention. Every day you wake up, you're stepping into a world that demands your attention from every angle. Notifications, expectations, deadlines, distractions. They're all waiting for you the moment you pick up your phone or open your front door. But before the world gets a hold of you, you need to get a hold of yourself. That's where mindfulness becomes your strength. Mindfulness isn't just about meditation or closing your eyes to escape reality. No, mindfulness is the discipline of presence. It is the act of anchoring yourself in the now so fully, so deeply, that you don't just survive the day, you own it. Morning prayer is one of the most powerful tools for developing this kind of presence. It centers your thoughts. It steadies your emotions. It reminds you that while you may not be able to predict the future or change the past, you are entirely responsible for how you show up right now. And that responsibility is a strength. In a world where attention is currency and chaos is constant, the ability to stay grounded is rare, and rare things are valuable. Mindfulness doesn't mean your life is always calm. It doesn't mean you never get angry or afraid. It means you know how to return to your center, no matter what's happening around you. It means you've trained your inner world not to collapse just because the outer world is shaking. When you begin your day in mindful prayer, you choose awareness over autopilot. You're not rushing. You're not reacting. You're listening. Listening to what your spirit is saying. Listening to what your body needs. Listening to the quiet voice of purpose that's often drowned out by the noise of obligation. That kind of listening, that kind of stillness is a form of strength. It takes discipline to be still. It takes focus to be fully present. And it takes courage to face yourself without distraction. You see, strength is not just about muscle or grit. True strength is the ability to observe your emotions without being controlled by them. It's the ability to recognize stress, anxiety, or fear, and choose to respond with intention rather than react with impulse. Mindfulness builds that strength over time. It doesn't happen in one morning prayer or even 1 week. It's a muscle, and like all muscles, it grows through repetition. Each time you pause and pray instead of panic, you're getting stronger. Each time you take a deep breath before you speak, you're training your mind to lead instead of follow. And that's not weakness, that's mastery. Now, don't confuse mindfulness with passivity. This isn't about being passive or letting life roll over you. It's about being strategic with your energy. It's about recognizing that you don't have to fight every battle, that not every opinion requires a response. That peace is not the absence of struggle. It's the power to remain whole within the struggle. When you walk out into the day with a mindful spirit, you carry that strength into every room. You speak with clarity. You listen with compassion. You work with focus. You connect with intention. People feel it when you are fully there. That presence changes how they respond to you. It shifts the atmosphere. Mindfulness is strength because it keeps you from wasting your energy on things that don't matter. It helps you choose your battles wisely. It allows you to focus not just on what you're doing, but why you're doing it. And in that awareness, you find freedom. Freedom from comparison. Freedom from pressure. Freedom from the constant chase to prove your worth. You don't have to chase what you already are. You just need to wake up to it. And prayer helps you do that. Every morning you pray mindfully. You're not just starting a habit. You're training your heart to stay steady, your mind to stay sharp, and your spirit to stay open. So when the world moves fast, you stay firm. When people act out of fear, you act out of wisdom. When life tries to pull you in every direction, you come back to your breath. You come back to your center. You come back to who you are. Because strength isn't about how loud you are. It's about how deeply rooted you are. And mindfulness, that daily practice of showing up fully in the moment, is the root system that holds you steady through every storm. In a world full of noise and distraction, clarity is rare. Focus is a precious commodity. With everything demanding your attention, emails, opinions, responsibilities, it's easy to drift, easy to get pulled in directions you were never meant to follow. That's why focus alone isn't enough. Focus needs an anchor. Something deeper, something unshakable. That's where faith steps in. Faith is not about certainty. It's not the absence of doubt. It's not about knowing exactly how everything will unfold. Faith is trust. It's alignment. It's that deep-rooted belief that even when you can't see the whole path, you're still being guided. That belief, that quiet confidence, is what keeps your focus steady when everything else tries to shake it. When you begin your day in prayer, you're not just offering words into the void. You are choosing to anchor yourself to something eternal before you step into the temporary. You are saying, I don't know what today holds, but I know who holds me. And that statement alone frees your mind from the burden of trying to control every detail. Because here's the truth. Distraction often comes from fear. Fear of failure, fear of missing out, fear of not being enough. And fear breeds anxiety. It scatters your attention. It makes you chase everything and accomplish nothing. But faith cuts through that noise. It reminds you that your value isn't in what you produce, but in who you are. That your purpose isn't defined by circumstance, but by calling. Faith gives you permission to slow down and focus on what matters. It clears the fog. It silences the voices that tell you you're behind. It keeps you centered when your plans don't go the way you imagine. Because when your focus is anchored in faith, you're not just reacting to life, you're responding from a place of peace. You see, focus without faith is fragile. It breaks under pressure. But focus with faith, that's a different kind of power. That's when clarity becomes conviction. That's when discipline becomes devotion. You stop just working harder and start working wiser. That's what morning prayer cultivates. It's not just a spiritual routine. It's a mental reset, a grounding practice that reminds you, I'm not walking through this day alone. And that realization brings strength. Because when you know your steps are ordered, you stop rushing. When you trust there's purpose in the process, you stop comparing your journey to someone else's. And don't think for a moment that faith means avoiding the hard things. It's the opposite. Faith frees you to face the hard things fully focused because you're not driven by fear anymore. You're driven by truth. You don't need the full blueprint to move forward. You just need the next step. And that step becomes clear when your focus is rooted in something deeper than ambition or approval. So many people are busy but not effective. They're chasing every opportunity, saying yes to everything, and wondering why they still feel empty. That's what happens when focus lacks foundation. You can build a schedule, build a business, even build a name. But if it's not anchored in faith, it will always feel fragile. It will never feel enough. But faith flips that. Faith says, I don't need to chase everything. I just need to be faithful to the right things. It gives you boundaries. It gives you vision. It helps you discern between what's urgent and what's important. It makes your no just as powerful as your yays. This is what separates people who burn out from those who burn bright. It's not just talent. It's not just time management. It's alignment. It's the quiet confidence that comes from knowing who you are, whose you are, and why you're here. So tomorrow morning, when you kneel in prayer, understand this: you are not just asking for help. You are anchoring your focus. You are reminding your mind where to look when things get cloudy. You are planting your feet in something deeper than emotion or outcomes. Because faith is not passive. It's not soft. It's not weak. It's a force. It sharpens your sight. It strengthens your focus. And it gives you the courage to show up fully, even when the path ahead is uncertain. And when your focus is anchored in faith, you don't just go through the day, you grow through it. You move forward with purpose. You face challenges with calm. You lead with conviction. You walk with clarity, not because you see the whole picture, but because you trust the one who does. Certainly. Here's an extended version of Keynote 4: Gratitude Changes Vision. In approximately 700 words, written in an educational and motivational tone, grounded in quiet strength and inner clarity, channeling the spirit of Chadwick Boseman's deep, reflective style. There's something sacred about the morning, before the day begins, before the noise sets in, before your mind gets pulled in 100 different directions. In that stillness, you have a choice. You can look at what you lack, or you can recognize what you already have. You can focus on what didn't go your way, or you can choose to see the blessings that brought you this far. And that choice, that simple act of gratitude, has the power to shift everything. Gratitude is not about ignoring reality. It's not pretending that life is always easy. It's about perspective. It's the lens through which you view the world. And when that lens is clear, when it's focused on what's right instead of what's wrong, your entire outlook changes. Not just for the moment, but for the day, for your relationships, for your purpose. Gratitude changes vision because it changes the way you interpret your life. It rewrites the story you're telling yourself. Where there was once complaint, it teaches contentment. Where there was frustration, it brings focus. Where there was anxiety, it introduces peace. And this shift isn't abstract. It's practical. It influences the way you speak, the way you work, the way you love, and the way you lead. Most people think of gratitude as a feeling, something you express when things go well. But real gratitude isn't reactive. It's intentional. It's a mindset. It's a decision you make at the start of the day. It's looking at your breath, your heartbeat, your chances to begin again, and realizing that even if everything isn't perfect, something is still good. And that something is enough to start with. Morning prayer becomes the training ground for this mindset. It's where you consciously reflect, not just on what you want, but on what you already have. It's where you sit quietly and say, thank you, not just for the big victories, but for the small mercies, for the strength to rise, for the wisdom you've gained, for the people who love you and the lessons that shaped you. Gratitude isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. It works in the background, adjusting your vision so you see more clearly. Because when you're thankful, you stop living in a state of lack. You stop comparing your journey to someone else's. You stop chasing validation. Instead, you start honoring your own path. You learn to appreciate the timing of things, even when they're not on your schedule. This isn't about being naive. Life will test you. There will be loss, delay, disappointment. But even in the middle of the storm, gratitude is the anchor that keeps you from drifting too far into despair. It's the reminder that all is not lost, that joy still exists, that purpose still breathes beneath the pain. Gratitude opens your eyes to opportunities that complaining blinds you from seeing. It keeps you aware, alert, engaged. When you practice it daily, especially in the morning, it becomes a discipline. And discipline is what transforms emotion into strength. You begin to walk differently when you're grateful. You become more generous with your time, your energy, your words. You stop waiting for more to give thanks. You start giving thanks to make room for more. That's the paradox. When you appreciate what you have, you expand your capacity to receive. Not because life gives you more things, but because you notice more of the goodness that's already around you. Gratitude makes you better. Not just happier, but stronger. More grounded, more focused. It sharpens your awareness of what really matters and helps you let go of what doesn't. It protects your peace from the toxic pull of entitlement, envy, and bitterness. It keeps your heart soft, your mind clear, and your spirit steady. So tomorrow morning, don't just jump into your tasks. Don't start the day scrolling through someone else's highlight reel. Sit still, reflect, and give thanks. Name the good. Speak it out loud. Let it shift your energy. Let it color your perspective. Because how you see your day determines how you live it. And how you live each day eventually becomes your life. Let gratitude be the lens you choose. Let it guide your eyes away from scarcity and toward abundance. Let it remind you that even here, even now, there is something to be thankful for. When people think about greatness, true, lasting greatness, they often look at talent, opportunity, or charisma. And while all of those things may open doors, they won't keep them open. They might catch attention, but they won't carry you through the challenges, the setbacks, or the silent seasons where no one is watching. What does? Discipline. Discipline is the engine that keeps you moving when motivation runs out. It's what wakes you up early when comfort says, sleep in. It's what helps you show up again and again, not because you feel like it, but because you know what you're building is bigger than your emotions. It's about commitment. It's about consistency. It's about choosing long-term growth over short-term gratification. You see, prayer in the morning sets the intention. But discipline, that's what follows through. That's what builds structure around your goals. That's what protects your time, focuses your energy, and shapes your habits. And without it, the inspiration you felt in your morning prayer will fade the moment difficulty shows up at your doorstep. Discipline is not about being rigid or perfect. It's not about grinding until you collapse. It's about aligning your daily actions with your higher purpose. It's about honoring the call that's been placed on your life. You don't need to be the loudest in the room or the most naturally gifted. You just need to keep going. Day by day, step by step. Most people wait for the right feeling to do the hard thing. But discipline doesn't wait for the feeling. It creates the feeling. You don't become focused, confident, or sharp by accident. You become those things through repetition, through doing the work even when it's inconvenient, especially when it's inconvenient. And let's be clear, discipline is not punishment. It's preparation. It's the bridge between the vision you prayed for and the life you're actually living. It says, if I want to walk in purpose, I must first train in purpose. It turns dreams into plans, and plans into habits, and habits into impact. When you pray in the morning and ask for strength, you're not just asking for protection, you're asking for endurance. Because to live with purpose is to live with pressure. Not the pressure to perform, but the pressure to grow, to keep moving, to carry something important even when it's heavy. Discipline allows you to carry it well. It teaches you how to manage your time, not just fill it. It helps you filter your focus. So you stop giving your energy to distractions and start investing it in your destiny. It teaches you the value of structure, of saying no to the things that look good but don't do good for your purpose. It creates a foundation beneath your talent so that when life shakes, you don't crumble. And yes, you will stumble. You'll have days when you don't hit the mark. But discipline isn't about being flawless. It's about returning, coming back to your practice, coming back to your principles, coming back to the deeper reason you started in the first place. That return, that quiet, humble decision to try again, is what builds strength over time. Discipline doesn't ask, do I feel ready? It says, I'm doing this because I decided I would. It's driven by purpose, not mood, by legacy, not likes. And when that kind of inner strength is cultivated through daily discipline, your confidence becomes unshakable. Not because you have it all figured out, but because you trust yourself to keep showing up. There's power in that. Quiet power. You don't need to announce your effort. You let your life speak. You let the results of your discipline tell the story. While others wait for the right moment, you create the right moment through daily effort, through morning commitment, through unwavering follow-through. And that starts with how you begin your day. Prayer aligns your heart. Discipline activates your steps. Together, they create momentum that doesn't just carry you. It builds you, refines you, transforms you. Because at the end of the day, it's not what you do once that defines your life. It's what you do consistently. And if you can train your spirit to show up for yourself every single morning, even in silence, even in struggle, you are becoming something unshakable. What you say to yourself when you wake up in the morning sets the tone for everything that follows. Long before you open your mouth to speak to others, you're already talking to yourself. Through your thoughts, your inner dialogue, your beliefs. And whether you realize it or not, those words are building something. They're shaping how you see the world, how you see others, and how you see yourself. This isn't just philosophy, it's truth. Your words are not just expressions of how you feel. They're instruments of creation. What you speak, especially over yourself, takes root. Words carry energy. Words carry direction. They either lift or limit. And when your words are repeated often enough, they begin to form the lens through which you view everything. That's why prayer in the morning matters. It's not just about spiritual connection. It's about verbal alignment. It's about choosing the kind of language that will strengthen you instead of sabotage you. Because how you speak internally and externally has the power to influence your emotions, shape your decisions, and alter your course. Think about the things we often say when we first open our eyes. I'm tired. I don't want to deal with today. This is going to be hard. Sometimes it feels innocent, just routine. But those words carry weight. They create a framework for how your body and mind will approach the hours ahead. They create a ceiling, even before the day has a chance to begin. But when you wake up and say, I'm ready, even if you don't feel it yet, you give yourself permission to step forward. When you say, this day is a gift, you train your mind to look for value in places others might overlook. When you declare, I have what I need to face what's coming, you activate confidence rooted not in arrogance, but in awareness. Morning prayer is your opportunity to speak intentionally, to fill the atmosphere around you with words that empower, words that heal, words that guide. And it's not just about positive thinking. It's about speaking truth. Because there will be days when you don't feel strong, when fear whispers louder than faith. That's when your words matter most. It's easy to speak boldly when life feels good. But the real test is when life presses you. What do you say then? Do you echo your fears or do you affirm your foundation? Discipline and gratitude might steady your steps, but your words light the path. When you speak with clarity, your mind follows. When you speak with purpose, your focus sharpens. And when you speak with hope, even when you're hurting, you give your spirit something to hold on to. Your words aren't just about motivation. They're a mirror. They reflect what you truly believe about yourself and your future. And if you want to change your life, you have to first change your language, because language is the first construction of any reality. And if you speak defeat long enough, you'll begin to live it. But if you speak life, even in broken places, you'll begin to build again. This doesn't mean ignoring struggle. It means speaking from a deeper truth than the struggle. It means being honest, but also being intentional. You can say, this is hard, while still affirming, but I am not alone. You can say, I feel tired, and still declare, but I am still moving forward. That's not denial, that's defiance. That's the courage to rise even when the weight is heavy. Start your day by choosing your words carefully, not out of fear, but out of awareness. Your mouth has power. Use it to create, not just to react. Use it to bless, not just to explain. Use it to declare, not just what is, but what can be. And remember, the most powerful words you'll ever speak are the ones no one else hears. The quiet affirmations, the whispered prayers, the internal reminders that even in your weakness, there is still worth. Even in your waiting, there is still purpose. Even in your silence, you are still becoming. So don't underestimate your words. Don't treat them casually. Guard them. Honor them. And above all, direct them with intention. Because your words are not just describing your world, they are designing it. And when you speak from a place of vision, of faith, of strength that's built from within, your life will begin to rise to meet the sound of your voice. Your morning is not just the beginning of the day. It is the foundation of your mindset, your momentum, your direction. It's the first decision you make, the first conversation you have with yourself, and the first moment you get to choose how you will show up in the world. And that choice is powerful. Too many people treat mornings like something to survive. They wake up late, rushing to catch up, grabbing whatever is in front of them, mentally and emotionally scattered before they've even left their home. But when you live like that, the rest of your day follows the same pattern: reactive, uncentered, and disconnected from purpose. But your morning is sacred ground. It's a space that sets the tone for everything that comes after. The energy you carry, the clarity you walk in, the peace or pressure you feel, it all flows from how you began. And that's why your morning matters, because it's in those first quiet moments before the world gets loud that you remind yourself of who you are. It's where you choose gratitude over complaint, discipline over delay, vision over confusion. Prayer in the morning isn't just a ritual. It's a recentering of your soul. It's an intentional act of stepping into alignment before stepping into the demands of the day. You don't have to control everything that happens. You won't, but you can choose how you enter the arena. And your morning is your preparation ground. It's where you armor up, not with pride, but with presence. It's where you calm your spirit, focus your mind, and ask the question, who do I want to be today? Because who you are becoming is being shaped in the small decisions, and no decision is smaller or more significant than how you start your day. Start it with peace, and you carry calm into conflict. Start it with focus, and you walk through noise without losing your clarity. Start it with gratitude, and you'll find joy even in the mundane. Start it with faith, and you'll face uncertainty with courage, not fear. This isn't about perfection. This is about intention. You don't need to have a flawless routine. You don't need to journal for an hour or meditate on a mountain. But you do need to be present. You need to create a space, no matter how small, to listen, to reflect, to breathe, to pray, to remember that your worth is not measured by your productivity, that you're not just waking up to get things done. You're waking up to grow, to serve, to live with purpose. Even 5 minutes of centered stillness in the morning can change the way you carry yourself for the next 12 hours. It's not the time, it's the intentionality. When you begin the day grounded, life doesn't throw you off balance so easily. When you're rooted in truth, the chaos around you doesn't define you. You become the thermostat, not the thermometer. You set the temperature. You don't just absorb the mood of the day, you influence it. And when you keep showing up every morning with discipline, with gratitude, with faith, with clarity in your words and power in your purpose, something begins to change, not just in your schedule, but in you, slowly, quietly, deeply. You become stronger, wiser, more resilient, more focused, more compassionate, because you're no longer drifting, you're driving your life. Don't underestimate the value of your morning. Don't treat it as a blur or a burden. Protect it. Defend it. Show up for it. Even when you don't feel like it. Especially then. Because your morning isn't about how you feel. It's about what you're becoming. Every morning, you are setting a tone, whether you mean to or not. So do it on purpose. Let your mornings become sacred space. Not because they're perfect, but because they're yours. They belong to your growth, your healing, your preparation, your peace. And when you begin to honor your mornings, you'll start to notice something else your days begin to align. Your mind becomes clearer, your reactions more thoughtful, your direction more focused. You begin to live not from reaction, but from purpose. You stop running to catch up and start moving with intention, because your morning matters. It matters to your soul. It matters to your vision. It matters to your future. So give it your presence. Give it your best. And let it be the beginning, not just of your day, but of your transformation.